Hi, I'm professional sports handicapper Ross Benjamin. It's Sunday, May 9th, and for all you ladies out there that may be viewing, I'd like to wish each and every one of you a happy Mother's Day. This is another part of my 32-part series in which I'll be covering every NFL team and making a pick against the regular season win totals. I take a consensus of what the projected win totals are, regular season win totals, that is, from all the offshore sports books and the Las Vegas sports books, and then I'll be making a pick at the end of each one of these videos. So far, we've covered the Cleveland Browns, Washington Redskins, and the Green Bay Packers. And in review, I like the Cleveland Browns to go over 8.5 wins. I like the Green Bay Packers to go under 9.5 wins, and the Washington Redskins to go under 5.5 wins. Today we're going to be covering the Houston Texans, and Houston's coming off a year in which they won the AFC South with a 10-6 regular season record. They defeated Buffalo 22-19 in overtime during a wild card playoff game, and that was a game in which Houston overcame a 16-0 second half deficit to win that contest. The following week they went on the road at Kansas City in the divisional round, and they had the tables turned on them as Houston blew a 21-point lead in that game and eventually ended up getting blown out by the Kansas City Chiefs, the eventual world champion Kansas City Chiefs. Offensively, Houston is in good hands with quarterback Deshaun Watson. All he's done over the last 2 years is pass for over 8,000 yards, a combined 52 touchdown passes against 21 interceptions, 900 plus yards rushing, and 12 scores via rushing touchdowns for Deshaun Watson over the last 2 years. Unfortunately, he doesn't get a lot of help up front. As a matter of fact, over the last 3 seasons, the Houston offensive line combinations have allowed a total of 165 snaps. And yes, Watson did miss some time along the way, but he still, out of those 165 snaps, he was sacked 125 times. And if you watch Deshaun Watson play, he's one of the more mobile quarterbacks in all of the NFL. And that just shows you how poorly Houston has protected the quarterback. Now, they lost DeAndre Hopkins during the offseason as Bill O'Brien. I'm scratching my head, as is a lot of people have, with the trade he made on sending Hopkins to Arizona for virtually little return. When you look at David Johnson, who's now going to be their starting running back, often injured over the last few years, hasn't been anywhere close to the type of production he did in his first couple of years in the league. And then they also, I believe, got a 3rd or 4th round draft choice. Again, folks, don't quote me on that. It just, if you're a football observer, you know that Houston got hosed on that deal, and Bill O'Brien's made several of those questionable moves since he's been put in charge as a dual general manager / head coach. But they do still have a pretty formidable group at wide receiver. They picked up Brandon Cooks via trade in the offseason from the LA Rams. They signed free agent slot receiver Randall Cobb, who last year was with Dallas, formerly of the Green Bay Packers as well. Will Fuller, the often injured Will Fuller, if he could ever stay on the year, we may realize his full potential. And then you're also looking at Kenny Stills, who came over a couple seasons ago from the Miami Dolphins. So this is a team that can really stretch the field vertically via the passing game. They did lose last year's 1,000-yard rusher in Carlos Hyde. And as I alluded to, they're going to be depending heavily on veteran David Johnson, who came over in that trade from Arizona. So as far as running backs go. So we'll see. I mean, again, if Johnson's healthy, he can still be a very productive back. Their wide receivers, like I say, that's a pretty awesome foursome. It's good depth, albeit you can't trust Will Fuller as far as his health goes. Defensively is where the issues came in a season ago. This is a Houston team last year that was 28th in total defense, 34th first and third down defense. And then during the playoffs, they allowed 70 points in those two games, as well as, I believe, over 900 yards of total offense, somewhere in that area. Let's see if I got that exact figure for you. So 859 yards in the two games against Kansas City and Buffalo, as well as 70 points. So not very good. And yeah, J.J. Watt is back. He did miss 8 games a season ago, but he can't do it on his own. And you got Whitney Merciless, who's also a very good player. But above and beyond that, there hasn't been a lot of change that would lead you to believe there's going to be any improvement on the defensive side of the ball. Then you look at Houston's schedule. Their first 4 games: at Kansas City, home against Baltimore, at the Steelers, and home against the Vikings. All 4 of those teams were actually 3 to 4 teams were postseason teams. The Steelers went 8-8 a season ago, but keep in mind they lost Ben Roethlisberger in their second game of the year. Roethlisberger is back and supposedly healthy. As a matter of fact, looking at the schedule overall, they have 12 games this season versus opponents that right now have a regular season win total of 8.5 or more. The same thing we're talking about, going over and under win totals. Well, the offshore sports books have 12 of their 16 opponents at 8.5 or more regular season wins as far as their projected totals. So not an easy schedule. I'm going to go under 8 wins here for the Houston Texans. I think they'll be an exciting team to watch. Offensively, I think they'll also give up a lot of points. I think you're going to see a lot of high totals in Houston games this year in the high 40s to low 50s. So keep an eye on that. Again, we're going under 8 regular season wins at moneyline odds of -125 for the Houston Texans. Until the next time, we'll be covering part 5 of our 32-part series. I'd like to wish each and every one of you all the best. Stay safe, be responsible, and God bless.